Have you ever wondered why your dreams feel so powerful? Or why certain symbols and stories repeat across cultures and generations? Well, Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, believed the answers lie deep within what he called the unconscious. But before we dive into his ideas, let us get to know him. Jung was born in Switzerland in 1875. He grew up in a household of both science and spirituality. His father was a pastor, and young Carl often wrestled with big questions about religion, philosophy, and the human soul. After studying medicine and psychiatry, he worked with patients at the famous Burgosli Clinic in Zurich. There, his curiosity about dreams, symbols, and mythology set him apart. He soon became a close collaborator of Sigmund Freud, the founder of psychoanalysis. Freud saw him as his heir, but Jung's vision was broader. Where Freud emphasized repressed desires and sexuality, Jung believed the human psyche was also guided by creativity, spirituality, and collective patterns of meaning. Their eventual break, though painful, allowed Jung to develop his own groundbreaking psychology, analytical psychology. In today's episode, we will explore his philosophy of the unconscious, how it has shaped modern psychology, inspired art and spirituality, and why it continues to guide people in understanding themselves even till today. Let's dive into his fascinating ideas about the unconscious mind. Carl believed that deep inside each of us lies a world we rarely visit, the unconscious. He often said it was like stepping into an ancient forest, mysterious and sometimes frightening, but also full of wisdom if we dare to explore it. He described two layers of this inner world. The first is the personal unconscious, the place where we keep forgotten memories, unspoken emotions, and stories we have pushed aside. It is uniquely ours, shaped by our own lives. But beneath it lies something far more powerful, the collective unconscious. So imagine a vast ocean that connects every human being across time and culture. In this ocean live the great symbols of humanity, what Jung called the archetypes. These archetypes are like timeless characters that guide our journey. The hero who pushes forward despite fear, the shadow that holds our hidden struggles, the mother who nurtures the wise old man who offers counsel. And they lived in myth, in religions, in fairy tales, and even in our modern movies. Think of Harry Potter facing Voldemort or Luke Skywalker meeting Darth Vader. Those aren't just stories, they echo something ancient in us, a story we all live. Jung believed that the purpose of life is what we call individuation, the journey of becoming whole. Not perfect, but whole. To do this, we must turn inward. We must meet our shadow, the parts of ourselves we deny, and learn to integrate them instead of running away. We must recognize both the masculine and feminine energies within us, the anima and the animus, and allow them to dance together in balance. And slowly, piece by piece, we meet what Jung called the self, the deepest, truest version of who we are. To walk this path, Jung used tools that were both scientific and deeply creative. He studied dreams, believing that they were messages from the unconscious. He practiced active imagination, letting images and figures from within to speak to him as if they were alive. He painted mandalas, circular symbols that became maps of his own inner journey. And he turned to myth and stories, convinced that the struggles of gods and heroes were mirrors of our own lives. What makes Jung so inspiring is not only his theories, but his courage to face his own depths. After breaking away from Freud, he entered a period of profound inner crisis, where visions, dreams, and symbols poured into his life. Instead of rejecting them, he embraced them, recording everything in what became known as the Red Book. Through that work, he showed us that even in our darkest hours, the unconscious can reveal a path to transformation. And that is why his philosophy still resonates today, because Jung didn't just give us theories, he gave us a story, the story of lifelong journey into the unknown, a reminder that within our unconscious lies not only the pain we have hidden, but also the light we have forgotten. And you know, what's powerful is how Jung's legacy still breathes in our world. Every time a filmmaker builds a story around the hero's journey, Jung is there. Think of Frodo in The Lord of the Rings, who must leave the comfort of home, face unimaginable trials, and descend into darkness before returning transformed. Or Neo in The Matrix, awakening to a deeper truth about reality. That is Jung's archetype of the hero guided by the wise mentor, confronting the shadow of the system itself. Every time a therapist sits with someone who is overwhelmed by anxiety, grief, or recurring nightmares, and instead of dismissing the images, asks, "What is this dream trying to tell you?" Jung is present. His belief that the psyche speaks in symbols allow people to find healing in their own language of dreams and imagination. So every time someone takes up a brush, draws a mandala, or writes a journal to explore their inner world, they are unknowingly walking the path Jung carved. His own mandalas were not just drawings, but living maps of the soul's journey back to center. Even in the world of mindfulness, spirituality, and coaching, his influence is unmistakable. When we speak about facing our shadow, our inner child work, or about embodying archetypes like the warrior, the caregiver, or the sage, we are speaking Jung's language. His vision that true healing comes not only from reason, but from embracing the symbols, myth, and mysteries within us, continue to shape how we seek wholeness today. Jung showed us that the unconscious is not simply a place of fear or repression. It is a sacred ground, a wellspring of creativity, wisdom, and transformation. A reminder that within us there is always more than what we can see, and that the journey inward is perhaps the greatest adventure of all. So Carl Jung's journey into the unconscious was not just a theory. It was a lifelong adventure into the depth of the human soul. He showed us that within our darkness lies light, within our fears lie hidden strength, and within our dreams lie guiding truth. For Jung, the unconscious was not a place to avoid, but a sacred ground to honor. By facing our shadow, listening to our dreams, and recognizing the timeless archetypes that live through us, we take steps toward individuation, toward becoming whole. And this is why his work continues to matter. It reminds us that we are not just isolated individuals, but part of a greater human story that stretches back through time and forward into the future. Each of us is a traveler of the path to the self, guided by symbols, stories, and the quiet voice of the soul. So the question is, are you willing to take that journey, to step into the forest of your own unconscious and discover what awaits there? Because, as Jung himself said, who looks outside dreams, and who looks inside awakens. Today I will leave you with few reflective questions. Have you ever had a dream that felt more like a message than just a random images? Which archetype do you feel is most alive in your life right now? The hero, the shadow, the caregiver, or perhaps the rebel? And if you were to begin your own journey inward, what's one step you would take to start listening to your unconscious? So thank you for tuning in today and for joining me on this journey into Jung's world. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your reflections in the comments. Until next time, keep looking inward.